Hello everybody, it's Friday again, which means it's time to spelunk for hidden indie gems. Some are rougher than others, to be sure, but I'm confident that there's something here for everyone. We've got 2D action, atmospheric horror, and even a Souls-like thrown in for good measure. All in all, offering a mixture of community recommendations and a few from yours truly. After all, variety is the spice of life. But first, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames, where you'll gain Discord access to the greatest indie gaming community. Enjoy early ad-free shows, receive our new podcast 3 days early, get a shout out at the end of every video we produce, and more. But best of all, you'll be supporting indie visibility. Your new indie gaming community is waiting for you.
Whoa, hey, sorry to interrupt you there, Ted, but before we get into all of those awesome hidden indie gems, we want to take a moment to thank our indie sponsor for this episode. It's Bygone Dreams, coming to us from Primetime, and it's just about ready for Primetime. So head on over to the Steam page using our link below and add it to your wishlist or indie gaming library right now. Bygone Dreams is a fantasy action-adventure title like no other, where you must take down massive bosses, tackle tricky, brain-bending puzzles, and put an end to an all-consuming nightmare that feeds on dreams once and for all. Huh, kinda sounds like Freddy Krueger when you put it that way. This world is full of mystery and intrigue, but to survive, you'll need to use a combination of different weapons and magic, which can be crafted to your playstyle. Whether you want to play on normal or the more challenging heroic mode, Bygone Dreams features over 2 hours of voice work and additional challenges for replayability. Plus, it's quite beautiful. Stop daydreaming. Use the link in our description box below and make this dream a reality. Bygone Dreams is launching soon, so don't miss out. Alright, you know what time it is now, folks. It's on to the indies.
First up is Neon Blood. This is a cyberpunk adventure game with a turn-based combat system and stylish pixel art that's appropriately complemented by plenty of neon light. This dark and gritty-looking title currently sits at just over 50 reviews on Steam with an overall rating of 63% at the time of writing. From the looks of it, Neon Blood seems to focus its efforts on style, narrative, and atmosphere. The gameplay itself does seem relatively standard, which may be a reason for its lower average review score, but fans of Blade Runner and cyberpunk in general are probably going to get a kick out of this. Apotheon, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, whichever way you want to say it, fans of ancient Greek mythology may get a kick out of this game, but to be honest, its stylish visuals are sure to draw in passers-by as well, which is evident given the fact that this isn't the most underrated indie game, with over 3,000 reviews at the time of writing. I don't know if I'm going to call this one a hidden gem, but it also released back in 2015, and that makes it 10 years old, which hurts me a little inside, not gonna lie. The key selling point of Apotheon seems to be more than its excellent style, however, offering true substance with its devotion to the source material. So, for fans of 2D action and Greek mythology alike, this seems to be a winner. From the prolific developers at Sock Pop Collective, White Lavender brings players an utterly charming take on the Souls-like genre. It stands out, however, with its wholesome story, putting players in the shoes, or feet, of a bug on a swords and sandals adventure to brew some medicinal tea. That's right, no bonfires, only teapots. Despite its charm though, White Lavender is still challenging, but it's a much more digestible experience that makes it worth trying for Souls-like novices. Certainly underrated at just over 200 reviews on Steam. Misty green environments, towering woods, floating islands, and big old statues. The world of Islets looks rather breathtaking for such an underrated indie game. The diversity of its landscapes is also rather impressive, just judging by the store page. The main gimmick here seems to be a system for reconnecting the fragmented sky islands, which is certainly unique. Other than that, this seems to be a standard but finely crafted Metroidvania, though the world is certainly intriguing. Seems great for fans of your average indie Metroidvania, but certainly seems to have its own style going on. With its stunning, warm, hand-drawn visuals and imaginative setting, it comes as a surprise that Universe for Sale has just over 80 reviews at the time of writing, and it's a shame because this sci-fi adventure looks more than a little promising. An abandoned mining colony, a cozy ramshackle town, a cast of quirky characters? Sign me up, I guess. Universe for Sale looks to be interactive fiction, so players looking for a gameplay-focused experience may want to steer clear, but judging by the store page alone, this title looks both imaginative and atmospheric. Worth a look perhaps if only for its unique world. And the music. I checked out just a few tunes from the soundtrack. It's excellent stuff. Paratopic is a truly strange title, something that may be immediately apparent thanks to its warbled PSX aesthetic, which looks as though it were pulled from an overfull dumpster and rinsed in a distorted washing machine. In a good way? I guess? I don't know. It kind of gives me a headache and I'm pretty sure I can smell it, but I love this game. A quiet and unsettling ambience hangs over the whole thing. Its surreal imagery and babbling characters create a palpable enigma that leaves reality just out of reach. It's experimental to the first degree, dragging players through a series of vignettes that barely connect in a 3D kaleidoscope of atmospheric horror. Not for everyone, that's for certain, but Paratopic is so short it's worth trying out for any fan of atmospheric horror games. Though currently unreleased, TetherGeist is certainly worth keeping an eye on. Its pixel art is crunchy and colourful, its environments are vibrant, and perhaps best of all, its gameplay is tremendously streamlined. TetherGeist promises a stripped-back experience that focuses on pure platforming over any kind of action. This is obviously not going to appeal to everyone, and its store page promises challenges within its exploration. However, from the looks of it, TetherGeist is set to feature a variety of expressive movement options and a dense world to explore. In addition, the game guarantees frequent checkpoints that forgive mistakes without dropping the challenge. Disc Room is a little indie action game about avoiding deadly saw blades. There's no simpler way to put it. Disc Room puts players in a room with discs, and the discs have blades, and it's pretty fun. Disc Room almost feels like it belongs in an arcade, tucked away in an underplayed cabinet, topped with high scores you'll never beat. Yet for all its arcade spirit, Disc Room's charming but minimalist style has a distinctive lack of pixelation. It's refreshing though, and no less stylistic. There are a whole bunch of different discs to avoid too, and there's even a few character abilities to spice things up. But it's really just a very solid arcade experience with a simple time attack structure, great for a palate cleanse or a coffee break. This community choice has been on my list for a while now, and while I've yet to get to it, this Metroidvania clearly offers a unique approach. Navigating several hand-drawn environments, players are tasked with battling through a relatively dark and dingy world, dense with enemies, boss fights, and quirky NPCs. A familiar affair for fans of indie Metroidvanias like Hollow Knight, Blasphemous, or even Grime, but certainly distinct in its look and innovative with its gameplay. The unique selling point of Biomorph seems to be a literal morphing mechanic that allows players to take the form of slain foes, even allowing players to use their skills for combat and exploration. The game also features enemies that look to be adaptive, gaining new powers after players have mimicked them. I particularly love the rainy and rundown vibe of the world, a place that seems drab and gritty in all the right ways. Plus it makes the bright blue protagonist stick out like a sore thumb, nice and easy on the old eyes. Okay, so I haven't played this game, but Geometry Wars was a childhood favourite, and Utopia Must Fall looks to be a base defense game with a Geometry Wars aesthetic. I'm talking bright neon colours and little geometric shapes that are weirdly satisfying to both watch and destroy. It's by no means a Geometry Wars clone though. Utopia Must Fall is its own beast, a tower defense experience with a roguelike structure that maintains the chaotic frenzy of its inspirations. It's not going to be for everyone, and it could be nostalgia talking, but Utopia looks like good old school fun. And that's about it for now. I hope everyone got at least a little something from this rather random selection, and be sure to let us know if you'll be checking any of these titles out in the future.